Hey everyone, I'm Melanie from Streamline Legal, where we help law firms get the most out of their practice management software. Let me move this microphone a little bit closer here so you guys can hear me. Tonight we are talking about updating custom fields in Clio. And specifically, we're talking about, I'm using a PI example, right? But here, it can apply to any case that you're working on. We're looking at a custom field that basically walks us through what stage of the case this file is in. So for example, if we're talking about PI, we're talking about things like, pre-demand. We're talking about another stage, maybe once we've sent out the demand, that talks about we're in negotiations. Maybe once we reached a settlement, we put it into a settlement stage that tells us that we're working on getting the paperwork signed and checks cut and all that. So we can come up with these stages of our case. If any of you are familiar with Kanban boards or like to track your cases in that kind of order, this is a really nice custom field. And so let me show you what it looks like on my screen over here. In Clio here, I've got this custom field called stage of case. And just like I talked about, we've got this one is in pre-demand. And of course, if I go and edit that custom field over here when I'm editing the matter, I can go ahead and change that to in negotiations, in settlement, in trial, post-trial, those are my options here. But of course, someone has to remember to do that, and that can be a pain sometimes. Not to mention it's a couple of buttons that we have to click to make that happen. And so I thought that it would be a lot easier if we went ahead and made that automatic, so that that happens automatically when we change stages. So for example, in my personal injury case, I want to make sure that we go from the pre-demand phase and go into a negotiation phase once we've sent out that demand letter. And so what I've done here in my task section is I've created a task that says send out the demand letter. And then I've set this up using Zapier to automate this. I've gone ahead and said when somebody checks off this demand letter task, then it automatically updates the stage of the case in Clio. So we're going to watch that happen here. Again, I'm on my task page. The task comes up to send out the demand letter. Today's the 15th. I go ahead and send out that demand letter that's already been prepared and finalized. Those were steps that we took earlier. I'm going to go ahead and mark this task as complete. And it gives me that little update there. And it really only takes about 5 or 10 seconds, so that when I now go back and refresh the screen that has my custom fields on it, you'll see that I was in my pre-demand phase, but after a couple of seconds here, this is going to update. And now it's going to show that I am in the beauty of using multiple apps on your internet to slow it down. I'm now in negotiations, right? And so that happened all automatically the minute I checked off that task, or I should say within about 10 seconds after checking off that task. And for those of you that want to see how I did that, I do have my Zapier up right here. The trigger for that zap was when a task is completed in Clio, right? So Clio sees that a task, or I should say Zapier sees that a task was completed, and it goes ahead and watches that it was completed. I had to filter it though, because I don't want this to happen after every task is complete. Obviously, only particular tasks. So the first filter I put on it said only continue if the task is named. Let's go back to our task here. If the task is named send out demand letter, then continue with my zap. Okay, so only continue if the task is named send out demand letter, and then also only continue if that task is marked as complete. There are different stages that your tasks can have. They can be in progress, they can be complete. There's a couple of options. So I filtered this one to only trigger when the task is completed, not when it's marked in progress. So now what we've got is a task is updated. Zapier checks to see if it's the right task, the one called send out demand letter. Zapier checks to see if it was marked as completed, not just in progress or some other stage. And then if all of that happens, then it's going to update my matter in Clio by updating that custom field to the correct stage. So this is a really, really helpful automation that will go ahead and help keep your matters updated. So now if I click on my matters tab and I see all my different matters, I can put that column in here, the stage of the case column for each of my matters, and it shows me my different matters and the stage that they're in. And this should be accurate if I have my automation set up and people are checking off their tasks, right? This will stay up to date without any human interaction other than checking off tasks. So this is a real nice way to see what my different cases are and where they are in the stage. So for example, I can also filter by this list if I want to see all of my cases that are in the, we're going to pick the stage of the case as pre-demand. I can filter for that, and now it's only going to show me my files that are in the pre-demand stage. And so this is a real nice way to keep up with my files. Now, I'm going to tease this a bit. For those of you that prefer more of a Kanban style visualization to see where your cases are, then I'd like to invite you to watch our next video where we'll show you the next Zap, which is going to take that stage of the case that's automatically updated in Clio and project that onto a Kanban board in a different software. So please join me on our next video so you can see the continuation of what that visualization looks like. And please give it a try. Let us know if you need help updating your stage of the case when you check off a task. Thanks for joining me tonight. I'll see you soon.